I've always been able to see shadow people or things from the corner of my eyes. They are almost always fleeting for me, but this one experience is one of the most memorable one I've ever had with a shadow person. I was 19 at the time and still living with my parents and all my siblings in the house. Me and my older sister A's room was side by side, and my youngest sister's R's room was directly opposite from mine. Our bathroom was in between me and R's room, and the stairs was opposite of the bathroom door. So from the bathroom door, mine and A's room was on the left and R's room was on the right. You could see the whole upper half of the stairs and the stair bend from the bathroom doorway. One day I was brushing my teeth before bed, and I was talking to A, who was standing at the door of the bathroom. Then she moved away when I took off my glasses to wash my face. I saw something move in the corner of my eye and I glanced at it. And because I didn't have my glasses on, I couldn't clearly see who it was. But it was the obvious shape of a person going down the stairs. The thing I saw was dark because the stair lights were off, but the bathroom light was bright enough to illuminate the stairs. I thought it was A going downstairs, so I called to her to get me a glass of water when she comes up. Suddenly, she popped in from the left side of the doorway and asked, "What did you say?" Confused, I asked her, "Wait, weren't you going downstairs?" I looked behind her and the shadow was gone. She replied, "No, I was in my room." I told her, "But I saw you going downstairs." Once again she said, "I was in my room." I argued that I literally saw her going down the steps. Still she denies it. And then R opened her room door to ask us why were we being so noisy. If A and R had been in their rooms when I saw the things, then what the fuck was it? There was nothing in the way of the light that could have cast a shadow, and our bathroom has no window for any light to shine in. So I've concluded that it could have only been a shadow person that I saw. Thanks for reading, and let me know what you think if it was a shadow person. I didn't know there was a whole community dedicated to these sightings, but figured I'll contribute. About 6 months ago, or so in the South Texas, I was visiting family in a decently sized RV park in a run-down side of town. It was maybe 10 p.m. or so at the time, and the dog had to go out. My dog only does his business at the end of the street in a buddy of mine's lawn, and has issues passing due to a tumor in his back. And so, I always stop at the end of the street and kind of watch the stars and stuff. Well, I looked down the street near the entrance to the park, and under this lonesome street light, I saw a silhouette of a child, maybe 9 to 12, just standing there, almost in a T-pose, but not quite. The odd thing I noticed was the hands, which were open enough where it was a crab-like in the sense that you could see the thumb, etc., and fingers had zero movement. I was puzzled, trying to figure out how this figure was so dark under the street light, because it was literally like seeing someone just enough to make out the outline in darkness. Zero light was reflected on this kid, just utter darkness. The only thing I could see was that someone was pulling a random prank and actually put a cutout of a mannequin, even in the middle of the road. But again, I was still confused. How did it remain so pitch black directly under a source of light? I didn't walk up to it because of 2 reasons. One being my dog was still straining trying to go potty, and second, I have a keen sense of picking up on negative energy. It was the same vibe I felt in the haunted house I grew up in, where I also had several spiritual encounters. I sat there staring for the next few minutes, just focusing on the 5 points of this silhouette, looking for the slightest flinch of movement, but never saw it. It was at this time I figured I'd pull out my phone and try to zoom up on this figure, but oddly enough, my screen and camera mode was pitch black. so I couldn't make anything out, and when I did zoom up to where I surely thought the figure was, I saw nothing but the street light through the lens. A couple actually began to walk behind this kid, and around this time I noticed they didn't even glance or acknowledge this kid standing maybe 6 feet or less from them as they walked by, and that was super weird. And they walked past under the same streetlight. You could make out everything, from facial expressions down to what clothes they were wearing, but the kid remained solid black. They were walking their dog, and even the dog didn't seem to notice, which is odd reflecting upon this now. I gave up and glanced to my phone in my pocket, and when I looked up, the figure was gone. It just vanished in that second or two of looking away. At this point, I was getting really confused and just wanted to get home. The creepy factor was through the roof. I turned around and began to walk back when all of a sudden, fast-paced running was coming up behind me. Startled, but trying to keep my composure, I quickly turned around and saw this gray blur just zoom past. The thing that stuck out the most was, for sure, the very gray skin and what I swear was black eyes from just the slight bit of eye contact I had. Then right as this kid is passing, he says, "Ha, scared you?" And boom, dudes go down just like that, poof. By that time I got home, I began researching what this area has as far as legends, etc. Go and stumble across BEKs. I guess Texas is very aware of BEKs and has several sightings, starting from some dude in Abilene who was a reporter. It wasn't until I put some work in and did further research and talked to other Redditors before I became totally convinced that this had to have been a BEK encounter. Hey everyone. So this weekend my husband and I made our first trip to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. We stayed at an inn that was once inhabited by a girl named Tilly Pierce and her family. And during the Civil War, the house was a makeshift hospital. I've never had any experiences with the paranormal, so I wasn't expecting to here, even though it said the house is haunted. The first night we stayed there Sunday, we decided to take a walk through town around 9:30 to 10 p.m. While we were getting ready, the light on the nightstand was flickering like crazy. Creepy, but could be explained, so we just unplugged it. We headed out for a walk, and no one was out. It had just rained, and the bars and restaurants were closed, so not much to do. But we were new in town and wanted to scope things out for the daylight. We got back, and at almost midnight, climbed up the creaking stairs to our room. To briefly describe our room, it was a street view room that sat above the dining room area of the house. The other guests in the inn were fast asleep by the time we got back. We sat on the bed for about 10 to 15 minutes, and out of nowhere we heard a young girl start singing. I'd say mid-song, no music. This song sounded like some type of hymn, or maybe a popular song among the young people of that time. After about 30 seconds of singing, a muffled woman's voice, almost scolding, said like, "You're 15. And that's all we could make out. Again, no one was on the sidewalks, and we saw the other guests and no young girls were in attendance. These sounds came from directly below us in the dining room area, and we had just walked in about 20 minutes prior to a darkened house. We both looked at each other in shock, but we still didn't register that it could be a spirit that was just overheard. Monday came and went, and Tuesday morning we gathered to breakfast at the dining room table of the inn with the other girls. The innkeeper was talking about the history of this house and had mentioned that he brought a sidekick into the house, and she said she felt the presence of a young girl, possibly Tilly. Another guest says, "Wasn't she 15? My husband and I practically broke our necks looking at each other. when we recalled what we heard Sunday night. Now, Tilly didn't pass away in the house or even in Gettysburg, but could it be a residual haunting? We both heard it so clear and loud. It was like we were hearing a snippet of a memory, but it wasn't bad or scary. It was actually very beautiful. So this happened a long time ago, but I just came across this thread and thought maybe you guys would enjoy this story. So I was in the middle of school at the time. It was the summer between my 7th and 8th grade year, so I was about 13 years old. A group of my friends and I were all at a girl's house that we know. She lived in a small duplex. We were young, all somewhat obsessed, but also very skeptical of spooky stuff. One of us, out of the blue, suggested, "Hey, let's make a Ouija board and try to talk to spirits." I think you can tell where this is going. So we got out paper and made a Ouija board and used a shot glass as a planchette. It was all fun and games at first. We all put our fingers on the shot glass and played for a while. But eventually, most of the group got bored of it. We all sat around after that talking a bit. 2 of the other girls went upstairs to go to our friend's bedroom to do whatever nonsense. And I got the bright idea to play on the board by myself. I know that you're all thinking, bad plan, everyone knows that's a bad plan, but hey, I was 13 and didn't believe in any of it. Anyways, I did the thing, and right as I was about to say goodbye, my 2 friends run back down to the room to the rest of us where we were sitting in. One of them lifts her shirt to reveal scratches on her ribs as if someone had dug their nails in, and I guess just scratched her up really bad. She looked down at me and screamed at me to say goodbye. I did, of course, and nothing happened after that. Everything was fine, and we all just had a good time. To this day, I don't know if something paranormal was going on or if it was like a weird coincidence. Either way, the girl got scratched. Still brought it up to me every once in a while, even to this day. While I was asleep, I was on a Discord call, and my phone was streaming. I was on my notes on my phone. While I was asleep, my girlfriend saw that a note was created on my phone while she was watching it, spelt out, "I don't go." I worried about what this means. Then my girlfriend went to sleep. Phone was on another note. I have auto caps on my phone. She said that note when she woke up was scrolling up and down slowly. Then it encapped the letter T like a cross. I got woken up around 3:45 a.m. randomly. Does anyone have any opinions of what this could have been? Thank you.